What is the collective unconscious?
It was shortly after my wife left me that I started thinking about time travel.
Is that why you killed Marty?
It was never my intention to hurt Marty. I was just looking for answers.
Tell me about Argentina.
We had to jump in. This is what made the Toichis ideal for the experiment. Being totally isolated geographically, they had no contact whatsoever with the outside world. Other than their existence, we had no other knowledge about them at the time. Our main hope was that they were not cannibalistic. Well, clearly they weren't. It's a common misconception that primitive peoples are cannibals. It's usually much more advanced societies that promote cannibalism.
What was it like living with the Toichis?
Once we crossed the language barrier, the thing first and foremost on our minds was to not contaminate our subjects. They were very curious about the outside world, about our clothing, our shoes, and the instruments we brought with us. But we couldn't explain anything to them, which often made them very frustrated with us. Nature had placed an embargo on information going into the tribe, and we meant to keep it. Once I began my research, though, I discovered that this assumption was absolutely false. Under hypnosis, I found that the Toichi people could speak English as well as Hindi, Chinese, and several African languages. Moreover, they possessed knowledge of objects and occurrences which they most assuredly had never seen. I could now state definitively that the collective unconscious was something that involved the sharing of all knowledge among all of mankind. I had first stumbled on the idea of this at Berkeley when I was hypnotizing subjects in my free time. Now, we've all heard the stories of people believing that they had past lives and speaking in tongues and demonic possession, and that we say that that's rubbish or insanity, and that those people have a screw or two loose rattling around in their brains. People have tremendous faith in the brain's ability to remember and interpret. But suggesting a link between the minds of all the people in the world was a leap no one was prepared to take. It borders on religiosity, the idea that every thought and every action you take is recorded in the minds of the entire human race. It brings a legitimacy to the idea of omniscience.
Did Marty volunteer himself?
After arriving back at the States, we had to keep Marty sedated for nearly a year before we were able to hook him up to the computers. By applying varying amounts of electric current to the subject's brain, the computers were able to extract information from the subject's subconscious. The results were outstanding. We were finding that the data most readily available in the unconscious mind was that of things known and understood by most people. Toasters, TVs, cars, toilets, that kind of thing. These are the things that vast numbers of people are thinking about at the same time. These more collective thoughts create larger waves in this figurative ocean of knowledge. But by applying more current at more rapid intervals, we were able to retrieve more specialized information. Complex schematics of various forms of industrial equipment, heat and pressure resistances for metals, sonnets of Shakespeare, that kind of thing. The more times we ran Matti through the machine unconscious, the more knowledge he maintained consciously.